Today, we are going to talk about the power of branding and brand consistency. And I've got a very special guest, Sam Blakley, with us today, who's going to be talking about branding, because you are a brand fanatic, aren't you, Sam?
Yes, I am, yes.
So I'm Bex from Social Media Executive, and I help businesses and train businesses how to effectively use social media to generate leads. You'll find us live every Monday, sharing lots of tips and advice on social media. So if you are watching this, please do give us a thumbs up. Please do ask any questions in the chat, even if you're watching this on replay. We will come back and answer them. So without much more of a further ado, welcome, Sam. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us all about you?
Hello, I'm sorry that you've got a cold, Bex.
Yeah.
My name is Sam Blakley, and I am the owner of Rethink Creative and Digital Marketing, which is a small boutique agency, small but mighty agency. I like to call it, because essentially it's just myself. But I do outsource work to a team of dedicated experts, people I trust for their expertise. I've worked for myself now for over 13 years and learned a lot along the way. But yeah, so I work from home. So the beauty of what I do is that I bring all of the agency expertise without the agency price tag. So that's a huge benefit to both startups and to larger companies for that matter.
Yeah, extra, and it is really, really valuable. And I've used Sam's services, and some of my clients have it as well. So I would highly, highly recommend. So your niche, isn't it, Sam? Your niche is branding. That's what you specialize in.
Yes. Yes, well, we do. I do provide a range of integrated services. We do websites and we do social media and marketing and lots of design for print. I absolutely love graphic design, but branding is the core of all of that. None of that has any purpose if your branding isn't right. So, and whether you're a small business or a large corporate company, and I've worked with a variety of many, I've been very lucky in that respect. It's important to get that right. And many people think that branding is a logo. Quite understandably, we do tend to gravitate, don't we, to the logo. We think, oh, the yellow M's, it's McDonald's, and also those iconic graphics, otherwise known as a logo, are of course really important. But for me, branding is the DNA of your business. It's the absolute essence, the core, the values, what makes you tick, the personality, how your brand greets people. Now, in many cases, and people I work with even now today, especially if you're a smaller business, the brand is often you. I often speak with business owners and say, you are the brand of your business. Obviously, for a much bigger company, that can change and be slightly more diverse. But I always see it as it's how you what we would remember, Bex, from our younger years as your Sunday best.
Oh yeah.
The kind of how would you dress yourself to impress? Or if you're going for an interview, if you're going for an interview, you'd put on your Sunday best, wouldn't you? Back in the day, I know times have changed a little bit these days, and it has evolved. But nevertheless, if you were going for an interview, typically, if you were a guy, for instance, you'd probably put on a suit and tie. You'd wear your nice shoes, that you'd polish them, and you'd make your hair look nice, and so on and so on. And really, that's what it's about, because it's about making that first impression, but then seeing that through. So, if you want to, even if your brand is one of humour, for instance, well, then again, how you greet somebody, what's that moment, what's that approach that you take when you walk up to somebody and first shake their hand when you meet them, whether it be at a networking meeting or an interview or wherever it may be. What is your approach? I've met so many people who've got a fantastic energy about them and a way to just make you remember them in that first 5 seconds. And that for me is where it starts. So as an individual, if you want your brand to reflect you and all that you are about, think about you and your personality. And then for a larger, or SMEs and larger companies particularly, and small businesses, It's then the full customer journey, from the moment how you greet your customer at the door, or how you greet them on the telephone, how you manage your customer through your business. All of that
it's really interesting, isn't it?
To your brand, your brand values and ethos. Yeah.
Because it's really interesting, because people do just think brand is a logo. I know when I first started out in business, what's my brand? What's my logo? But actually this whole personality, like you say, how you approach people, people wouldn't think. I mean, I've got Barbara. We've got Barbara here in the background from the Social Flock. And really interesting, because I've not thought about it, but I take her everywhere networking to raise the profile of the Social Flock. And actually, I went to a networking, you laugh at this, I went to a networking event last week and I took her with me, but it was a networking event where a few people didn't know me. So I turned up with this cuddly toy. And we didn't introduce ourselves till probably after the meal. And anyway, the lady on my table, one of the ladies went, so that's what the sheep's for. She said, I thought it was sort of a therapy thing for your anxiety.
Brilliant.
Okay, it's not quite the image I was going for. But so it's really important, isn't it? This brand that is not just the graphics on your website or the logo on your social media, is it? It's much
absolutely.
More than that.
And in fact, using a very good example along the lines of Barbara, for example, the meerkats.
Oh yes, I love the meerkats. Yeah, everyone remembers them, don't they?
The guys that sat around in the room discussing. I can't remember the exact story now. I'm not going to try to remember the exact story, but there was a tale, and there was talk of bringing a Russian meerkat into the mix for this, to create the brand for Compare the Market. And yeah, it was met with kind of raised eyebrows and kind of question marks, and really, why, and what's the relevance of a meerkat? And look, they've been running for, I think it's around 13 years now, and are one of the most famous brands and icons relating to a brand in the world. I mean, there's so many of those. I get all kind of starry-eyed when I start thinking of sort of big global brands and the success that they've had, but the simplicity of their message, the beauty in the simplicity. So take the Nike tick, for example. Perfect example. Absolutely, just solid gold. Absolute solid gold branding. And recently I've been really, really enjoying, even though personally I'm not somebody who eats at McDonald's a lot, I do enjoy it occasionally, but the eyebrows. I mean, obviously the brand is very well established, we all know, but they have to keep reinventing new ways to make themselves memorable, to put them back in the minds of the consumer. Don't forget McDonald's. And so we've now got everybody, and of course it's accompanied by the sound, which I'm not going to try and make, but everybody kind of raises their eyebrows twice because it's the ends.
Yeah.
And have you seen the advert on the motorway?
Yeah.
Where they're all in their cars in standing traffic, and the music hits in, and it's basically, we need a McDonald's, don't we?
Yeah.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So, and that's kind of brand evolution and new brand strategy and all that. So obviously they are established.
Yeah. So what would you suggest then for for a small business that obviously that hasn't got a large budget? Where do they start then when it comes to the branding once they've got the logo?
Yeah, well, to a degree, it'll come down to budget, because obviously, starting out, it's quite common and totally understandable for business owners to think, right, I just need a quick logo, and often that's fine. It depends on the type of business. People starting out haven't got a kind of a big budget to do competitor research, market research, all that kind of exploratory work that a bigger organization may well want to invest in. But having a logo and at least having some consistency. I mean, consistency is the key word, really. So even if you create a logo yourself, or you use someone like Vista, for instance, there are solutions out there for a kind of a much more cost effective get-going solution. You might have if you're a nail salon, for example, you've got a plethora of colours to choose from, and you might just decide, what, as the business owner, I adore pink, and that's going to be the colour that I'm going to use. So make sure that across any communications that you put out there to your desired customer, that there is a consistent thread of pink. At a very basic level, that's branding in the visual sense, let's say. So because what you want is to gain that recognition, that people start recognizing. So let's say you post on social media, so you'll create yourself a little suite of social media templates where pink will consistently run through, the pink from your logo, and it might be that you team that with, say, a brighter pink like this, or another complementary color, and then keep the typefaces consistent as well. So at a really basic level, just having a little mini toolkit of colours, typefaces, and the way that you talk, be consistent with it. And any imagery that you take, that's perhaps a whole other area, because that can be a bit of a minefield, the imagery side of things. But if you've got graphics and things, just keep it consistent. But yes, obviously there are ways to escalate and elevate how your branding communicates, the kind of depths that you can go into. The brand story is particularly important, especially for growing businesses. You start to build a backstory of why you created the business, why it's important, who it serves, why it serves them, and what it does well. And those attributes then start to form the basis. As I say, you're talking about the DNA of your business, and then you're really starting to instill the know, like, trust factor, people really resonating with your brand, understanding what you're about, your values, and connecting with that.
And I think that's really important, because I work with a lot of clients on social media, and sometimes, when I first start working with them, they may have a LinkedIn profile, an Instagram profile, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever. And actually, when you go onto each platform, you can't actually identify that it's the same company, because they might be using a profile picture on one, they might be using a logo on another, or they might be using an image within the company or a product on another. And actually, you lose that impact then, don't you? People don't necessarily realise it's the same company.
Yes. Yeah, it can become a bit diluted. And also, even things down to your handles, it's really, really difficult, isn't it? Your handle, Bex, is slightly different, isn't it? Social media executive, you've got limited on Instagram, for example, haven't you? And then it's slightly different on Facebook, but yours are pretty, consistent. Whereas it can often, especially if you've got, a name that's fairly regular, I can't think of an example, but nail beauty, you're unlikely to get nail beauty available on Instagram as an Instagram handle. So but having some consistency, if you can, through that, and naming your brand, even think about those kind of things. I think the key bit of advice I would say to any business, regardless of size, is think about your USP. What makes you the go-to person? How can you stand out and set yourself apart? And often that can be a serious challenge, when there's a saturated market out there doing all the same things that you are. But try and think outside the box and think, what are people searching on? What do people need? How can I brand myself and name myself in a way that actually might make people think, oh, that's different. Even the name, all these little things that could make you stand out from the crowd.
That stands out. Yeah, and making sure that your name as well, going back to those social media handles, is that I see a lot of people going, oh, the name's not available, so they might put a 1 at the front of it. But actually, always making sure those variations go at the end of it for each social media platform, and the beginning bit is the same, so that it's the same on each platform, and you're more easily found then, aren't you, as well? Yeah. And I love your brand, because Sam, you've just gone through a rebrand yourself, haven't you?
Yes.
And that's why you're looking really bright and fabulous today, which puts me completely to shame. But you know, your big part of your branding is that pink, isn't it?
Well, it has become that, and I'll tell you a little story as to why. I mean, the wall behind me obviously is yellow. This is my office at home. There is supposed to be a big logo on the wall behind me, but when it arrived, it was a bit too big. So I decided to rethink that one. So yeah, I rebranded to Rethink a short while ago for reasons I won't bore you with. But I'm all about being positive and happy, and I just thought yellow is a really happy colour. So that's that. But I'm also a big fan of a really good, strong base colour that lots of and I have to stress, brand identity is not just about colour, but you know, just starting in this particular area. So although you can't see it, the other colour in my office is a dark blue, because there's many colours that go with dark blue. And it also is quite a professional colour and is a bit different to black. So and then I decided to team it with the bright pink, because throughout my website, when it goes live, it's so close. It's painfully close. It's been a labour of love as my website. It will be live in some form at least this week. So do look out for that, because I will be really interested to see what people think. But I've injected the pink into it because they form the really nice sort of call to action standouts throughout the website. And a while ago, I attended a networking meeting wearing yellow and blue, and about 4 people in the room immediately said, "Oh my gosh, you're wearing your brand colours!"
Yeah.
And my business card is bright yellow.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And so it has recognition, because the bright colours really, really stand out. And so when I then attended a follow-up networking meeting, 3 or 4 people, it said to me, "I remember you were the lady wearing bright yellow."
Yeah.
You know, so I had a sunshiny disposition. At least I try to. Obviously, I have bad days.
You always do. Yeah.
But I had a sunshiny disposition. I was wearing bright yellow, and that was a memorable thing. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. It just goes to prove that branding isn't just about your logo and what's on a piece of paper or existing in a digital format. It's all about how you represent your brand as well.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a really good point. So do you think I should get a sheep costume?
Join the herdie.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, well, it's been really, really interesting speaking to you today, Sam, and I think, you know, some really valuable tips, because certainly I'd never really thought of, you know, your brand being the way you speak and what you wear and things like that, but it is actually vitally important for getting people to remember you and helping you to stand out, isn't it?
Well, if you think about it, just quickly, if you think about it, how you talk about your brand. If you went out for a drink with your friend, for instance, and they was asking you, "Oh, how's your business going?" and you were talking quite, you know, obviously informally and relaxed and freely about things, you know, all of those things that naturally come out about what you want your business and brand to represent, what you want to achieve, who you want to talk to, what messages you want to convey, what makes you great, all of those attributes. Those are all things that you're then going to take and translate, or that you can take and then translate directly into your social media posts to give you that yummy content, essentially, to talk about your brand and repurpose that. You can say it in a different way, you know, but you've got all of those ingredients to talk about in your social media.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, isn't it? It's about getting that across and utilizing it to your benefit to get it out there on multiple platforms, so yeah, that people do start recognizing. And I shall look forward to seeing a lot more of your lovely pink tops.
I'll have to go back some more. I'm repurposing this one at the moment.
Yeah. But no, it is, and it's, you know, it's just about getting that message out there consistently, and I think that's the most important thing, isn't it? With social media, it's all about being consistent with your posts, but also being consistent with your brand so that people start to recognize that brand within your content that's going out there.
Well, actually, yes, those were my sort of top 3 points were going to be exactly that: recognition, trust, and emotional connection.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking to build with your audience.
Yeah. No, that's been really useful. Well, thanks, Sam. And if you can connect with Sam on LinkedIn as well, I will share a link with her, and then she will be sharing when her website goes live. There will be a big fanfare. And you can have a look then as well at the way she's done her brand and how she lives and breathes what she provides. And if you do need any support with brand design, websites, please do get in touch with her, so because she certainly knows what she's talking about. And if you're interested in joining the social flock, Sam is now one of our partners who's going to be providing lots of valuable tips and advice to our members on branding within the social flock. So if you want to get ahead and get on top of your social media content, then please do come and join the social flock. It's only £45 a month, and it includes lots of training, access to myself and Sam and Joe Hawkins, who's a virtual executive virtual assistant, and lots of fabulous members in the group who all support each other to get their social media out there on a regular and consistent basis. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks again, Sam, for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You certainly brightened up my screen. And next week, I've got Mike Lever, who's going to be talking about generating sales on social media. Some lots and lots of tips on that as well. So please do join me again next week at 12:30. Thanks for watching, everybody. And again, please do give this a like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or follow us on social media. And if you're watching on Catch Up, please do ask any questions in the comment. We're more than happy to come back and ask. Thanks everyone for watching. See you next week. Bye.